the pattern is familiar. Like Europe with the Roman Empire, Japan initially had an emperor and a court dominated by nobles. The court was interesting because it was super civilized in the sense of the culture of it and the quality of refinement of it and the refinement of manners and dress. That isolated court, however, gradually becomes taken over by the nobles who attend the emperor, who are increasingly building power themselves. And as they take resources, the production of the peasants, as they take it for themselves, they begin to build up their own armed forces. But the court is isolated, but it goes on for a long time. And the other thing that happens is that the court becomes very Sinified. A lot of influence comes from China, and in a sense, the disconnect between the court and the rest of the people becomes greater because it becomes more and more foreign to most of the Japanese people. And as a result, down below, away from the isolated court, you get the rise of basically what is a military elite, the samurai class, a term that's familiar to us from modern history. And they essentially come out of the regions away from the court. And initially, they're sort of petty lords. And they initially have dirt forts. Ultimately, they go on to build wooden fortresses, magnificent structures, very similar to the castles of Europe in the medieval period. And gradually, power shifts to the local lords, called bushi. And the local lords are essentially their power rests on their military aptitudes. And it, again, like feudal Europe, it is what we call a ritualistic military system. In other words, the wars are essentially fought by great champions who challenge each other. The date of things is set very carefully, and there's a ritual quality to it. And essentially, the samurai warriors hack away at a lot of peasants and then fight another champion, and the battle is won or lost as a result of that. These local lords increasingly are sapping the power of the court, and the other thing they're doing is that they're playing down the Chinese aspects of the power in Japan, and they're making it more and more Japanese, so that Shinto becomes more and more important. So you get a long period, almost a millennium, in Japanese history when, like Europe in the medieval period, it's divided into feudal kingdoms at war with each other constantly. It can be very violent, and probably the greatest symbol of it is the samurai sword, which in its time, before the Industrial Revolution, is the finest piece of steel working anywhere in the world, layer upon layer of steel. And they're beautiful things, too. Their armor is beautiful. Again, everything is aesthetic. And that's reflected in a wider thing, which you can still see in Japan, is that this warrior class, violent as they are, making war as they are, also are refined. Again, that's this legacy, that they build great gardens, they design temple complexes, they build beautiful forts. They're some of the great buildings left standing in Japan. The military class is also crucial because they are adaptable. They are innovative. So when the Portuguese come, they bring a new kind of firearm. The Japanese already have them because the Chinese, of course, invent them and they go to Japan. But the Portuguese bring improved weapons. Within 5 or 6 years, the Japanese have taken the weapons that they buy from the Portuguese, and they've made them better. So that they have quickly adapt to firearms, they quickly adapt to the new ships, they quickly adapt to the things that they see in the West that they need to protect themselves. And Japan is the only country anywhere in Africa and Asia that is not brought under European influence, either directly or outright colonized. And part of the reason for that is this military class.